The game Monopoly is one of strategy, economics, and as Investopedia puts it, a chance to be a pretend real estate tycoon. We play for fun, but making the jump of how once the tycoon becomes an entity in real life, a sticky hand in a pile of money, a totalitarian control of the healthcare industry, that is when the dice rolls for something much more than your dignity on a game night. Much more, as in 1.1 million unnecessary deaths. For the most part, we live in a capitalistic society. Profit is merely the engine. So take a sports car that costs millions of dollars. It's quite exorbitant, but people are still willing to pay for it, hence these prices are market-driven, which can be labeled as fair. But one specific type of monopolistic pricing creates a fatal dilemma. Either pay or suffer. And pharmaceutical companies take full advantage of this choice. I'm going to talk about two problems with the monopolization of healthcare and medicine, how they stifle innovation and take lives. So let's talk about the entities that make healthcare. Their long reign of medicine should be familiar in the terms of big pharma. Although there are plenty of stories and medications to introduce, there are a few that fully embody the spirit of this monopoly. The first comes from Turing Pharmaceuticals, now known as Vera Pharmaceuticals, with a drug called Daraprim. Daraprim is a medication to treat parasitic diseases, malaria, and serious infections caused by HIV. Martin Shkreli, the founder of Turing, when acquiring Daraprim for his company, bumped the prices up in a day from $13.5 to $750 per pill. When asked about this unreasonable decision, Shkreli simply answered with a smile, quote unquote, "I probably would have raised the prices higher and made more money for our shareholders." Since then, Daraprim has never been able to return to its original price due to generics not being able to enter the market. Onto a Swiss company called Novartis, which owns a revolutionary gene therapy called Kymriah for treating leukemia, a cancer that kills 300,000 people every year. While Novartis co-owns the patent, the therapy itself was developed by publicly funded researchers. It turns out that pharmaceutical companies rarely do their own research these days. It's mainly government or NIH funded. Given this, the target of both the government and the companies remain on serious diseases, cancer, multiple sclerosis, diseases that people will pay almost anything to treat. But if you can't pay for it, you can't get it. Kymriah, her patient costs $320,000 per therapy, per person. In other words, it is a death sentence while staring at the lifeline. This phenomenon reaches outside of the developed world. Those in developing countries with no mobility are yet to even touch a picket sign for lower prices, as they are stranded without the hundreds and thousands of dollars that these companies require for a lifeline. But the immeasurability of these problems don't end here with the company's ruthless pricing. Research claims that 9 out of 10 major drug companies spend more on marketing and sales than research and development. As complacency became overwhelming in the 21st century, drug innovation has come to a grinding halt, with bolted patents on medication. Companies simply want to eliminate the risks of developing an unsuccessful drug. But even when innovation does happen, the very much outdated patent law states that when a company successfully patents a project, no one else can sell it for 20 years. Maybe fair enough, but companies have found ways to make it longer than those 20 years by inventing slightly tweaked dosages or basically claiming nebulous, unique change. So yes, it is not justified to shackle the most basic preservation of health by a fatal price tag. So how do we make it fair? The three solutions I'm about to propose are bold, but as many researchers claim, are the only ways to topple down this monopoly. 1. Utilize retail giants which are willing to take high-stakes risks in terms of research and development. Realize that during the COVID-19 pandemic, the only reason why pharma companies developed and distributed drugs so quickly was because governments were willing to spend whatever it took. It essentially de-risked the financial failure. Harvard business professor Clay Christensen notes that disruptive change almost always comes from outsiders like retail giants. 2. Implement government-industry partnerships, which essentially use federal funding and contracting to pressure companies to lower prices. Governments paid for the research, oftentimes using taxpayer money. The least companies can do with their billions of dollars of revenue is return the benefits back to the public. 3. Reform the patent law, which currently allows companies to maintain their market monopolies and inhibit any form of innovation very easily. We can do this several ways, such as raising the bar of what gets patented, or by making the process of legally challenging these patents less costly and less complicated. Before I end the speech, let's go back to 2-3 years ago to remember the times of COVID-19 vaccinations, a frenzy of bureaucracy, mandates, and isolation. Throughout that time, world leaders worked to provide access to vaccines for all countries and all people. They proved their ability to destroy the game rather than roll the dice. So let this be a call to share this story, to donate to nonprofits that can help rally. If health is the greatest wealth, make it so that health only does so much as to strengthen our wealth, not the other way around. Thank you.